Good morning, New Zealand. It's Wednesday morning. It's the 3rd of September, middle of the week. Welcome to Daybreak. Yep, middle of the week. And actually, I just have to show you this one because it did make me laugh. Dean. Morning, Dean. Dean's having a God morning. That's a good way to start the day. I'm sure it was a typo, or maybe it's not. Maybe you are having a good God morning, and a good morning, Dean. Good morning to everybody else that is online as well. Right, special treat coming up today. We're going to check out the interview that the Te Pati Maori candidate in the Tamaki Makaurau by-election did on Q&A. Having done some media training and having given media training to groups at times, I tell you what, it was a disastrous interview, and I just want to show you some clips and you'll soon see why. Although fascinatingly, is that a word? Fascinatingly, Te Pati Maori are actually very binary and right into male and female. Quite stunning, actually. Anyway, let's check it out. But firstly, let's just check out some stories. Now, this is a story you may see in the New Zealand Herald. Appeared last night. A student at the University of Kentucky in the US has been charged after her baby was found dead in her closet. Tragic case. 21-year-old arrested, a cheerleader in Kentucky, and she was on the university cheerleading stunt team. The extent of her knowledge of the pregnancy is not clear, but that didn't stop our journalists at New Zealand Herald immediately going down the you-know-what track. Kentucky has a statewide abortion ban in place since 2022, prohibiting pregnancy termination, in other words, killing the unborn child, except when there is a risk of death or impairment to the pregnant person. Nope. New Zealand Herald, only women can get pregnant. There's a little fact check for the New Zealand Herald. Now, they then immediately go into the effect of abortion bans. And apparently, according to John Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health, not health for the unborn child, the study found that abortion ban states, so where you ban abortion, they have a higher number of births than expected. Ha! Who would have thought that if you stop people killing the children in the womb, that you'll have more births? Yep, I know, stunning stuff. And basically it goes down the whole track of, if only they didn't have abortion bans, this baby could have been killed in the womb instead of or killed outside the womb. And then they talk about a lawsuit that was filed, and apparently the person who filed the lawsuit says that it forces pregnant people to carry their pregnancies to term and give birth. And apparently that carries a risk of death 14 times higher than abortion. Yes, apparently giving birth, the woman faces 14 times higher chance of death than having an abortion, which of course in 100% of cases kills the unborn child. Now, the problem for the New Zealand Herald is that they didn't think, which is fairly common, because it has now been revealed that, and this was just breaking this morning, that the Kentucky cheerleader listed motherhood as one of her life goals. So this seems to affect the narrative. But the other problem with the narrative that the New Zealand Herald are pushing, in that if you have abortion bans, it forces babies to effectively be dumped as soon as they're born. The problem is that New Zealand completely destroys that argument, because we've had two recent cases. We had the one just recently in Albert Park where a newborn baby was found dead. And remember that one where a baby's body was found in a wheelie bin a couple of weeks before that. And New Zealand has one of the most liberal, extremist laws, abortion laws, thanks to Jacinda Ardern and the politicians, in the whole world. So it's still happening even with liberal abortion laws. So, this argument by the New Zealand Herald that it's all because of the abortion ban is just a complete myth. And the New Zealand Herald should hang their head in shame for this type of reporting. Now, also, I found this fascinating. Pornographic deepfakes. So this is where, through the use of AI, you can basically create pornographic videos and images and put someone someone you want to bully, onto that image, so it looks like it's actually them. Now, in New Zealand, ACT MP, Laura no, I can't remember her name anyway, someone will think of it. She has put in a private members bill, but because it's a private members bill, it may never see the light of day. I was just interested to see this morning in the Australian that no, the government's going to do it, and they're going to oblige tech giants to block that type of stuff. And I thought that was just very interesting, the difference in the way that for New Zealand, it's a private members bill, the politicians really don't prioritise it, and yet in Australia, they are prioritising it. Same with the social media ban as well. Now, just on a lighter note, remember our story where we talked about the Coldplay 2. This is the most hated man on the internet, this guy that stole the cap of the tennis player right in front of the kid who thought he was going to get it. Hey, where's my cap? Where's my cap? Well, he's come out and he's apologised. This was on One News last night. I would like to unequivocally apologise to the injured boy, his family, as well as all the fans and the players himself. In other words, he got busted. And it's a little bit like the Coldplay incident. If you don't want to be shamed throughout the world with a viral video, don't do dumb stuff. Pretty easy, isn't it? Now, Spotify are starting direct messaging, and that has concerned groups, including NCOSI, the National Centre on Sexual Exploitation. And of course, Dawn Hawkins, who spoke at our conference last week, worked for NCOSI. She's now advisor for them. And they have called on Spotify to reconsider allowing teens to access the direct messaging. They said Spotify should halt the rollout of the direct messaging feature, given that direct messages are a prime way predators can contact teens. Spotify has a track record of not prioritizing child safety, as it took them 8 years just to add basic parental controls, Spotify Kids. There have already been cases of children being groomed and abused on Spotify, and inevitably this will get worse with the direct messaging feature. So, yeah, good on NCOSI for calling them out. I meant to tell you about this one on Monday. In Life News, they reported that the Pope tells Catholic politicians you can't be Catholic and pro-abortion. Well, that's not actually just a Catholic message, is it? Actually, it should be to all Christian politicians. You can't be a Christian and pro-abortion. It's incompatible. So let's extend that one. But anyway, good messaging from the Pope. Just before I get into a couple of other serious topics, Father's Day, I read this, that around 4.7 million Australian dads are expected to spend a combined 720 million, sorry, not dads, Australians, so wives and kids and stuff. This is just a hint for my kids. Father's Day on Sunday, yep. 720 million is going to be spent on gifts for dads, granddads, partners and fathers this year, although it is down 100 million, you stingy lot. Yes, apparently you're going to spend less. Well, in Australia, maybe New Zealand will be the difference. But this is the bit that I found fascinating. They reckon, this is Roy Morgan surveys, they reckon that the average spending on Mother's Day is $141 per mother, but for dad, it's going to be $145. $4 extra spending on Father's Day than Mother's Day. Yeah, okay, I won't say anything more, I might get in trouble. But anyway, $4 extra on dads than mums. It's not a competition, of course, is it, team? Right, bit more serious. I did laugh at this article. Back to the New Zealand Herald. Far right anti-immigration protests. There were some protests. Basically, it was people celebrating Australia over the weekend marches and concern about the level of immigration and whether those some immigrant groups are assimilating into the Australian culture, or whether they're coming in to challenge it and challenge Judeo-Christian values, which is the DNA of Australia. The government has described the protests, and it's just fascinating reading this article. Let me just describe the words that are in this article. You'll quickly see what the focus is of the article. Racist, presence of neo-Nazi groups. So, you know, you got to get the word Nazi in there. Australia is grappling with the growing threat of extremist ideology amid a rise of far-right nationalism in countries around the world. Apparently 15,000 people gathered for the March for Australia. Populist politicians. It always fascinates me that they say the word populist politicians as though that's an insult. My understanding of populist means that they're popular. The people agree with them and like them, but apparently that's an insult. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese acknowledged media reports linking the to radical anti-government sovereign citizen movement. So remember the cop that was killed last week, and they're still trying to find the offender in the bush in Australia. That was a sovereign citizen movement, but they're trying to link these pro-Australian marches with that. And they talk about the growing threat of nationalist and racist violent extremism, issue-motivated extremism fueled by personal grievance, conspiracy theories, and anti-authority ideologies. It's just a cesspit of wonderful words trying to give us negative. And I knew people that went on that march on Sunday, just love Australia, concerned with the direction it's going in. Interestingly enough, in the Australian today, there's a report about one of the founders of the Green Party in Australia who's going to court to sue the Greens because he basically got chucked out of the Green Party in Queensland because he opposed the trans ideology. Yeah, he believes only a woman can be a woman, and he got suspended by the Greens, which is kind of ironic. And this is him outside court making a statement.
My name is Drew Hutton. I'm a founding member of the Queensland Greens and the Australian Greens, and I'm here today filing an application in the Supreme Court against the party that I helped to found on the basis that they have denied me free speech and in fact have expelled me from their organisation simply because I was not prepared to countenance censoring the opinions of other people. There's a number of objectives I've got in this. One is to entrench the whole idea of freedom of speech in the culture of the Queensland Greens. That's what it was like when I founded the party back 30 years ago, that freedom of speech and democracy were key parts of the charter of the Greens. Unfortunately now, that's given way to the idea that we have to be, there are some things which are not up for debate, and that's what I'm challenging here today.
Yeah, amazing. So the Greens, I mean, probably you'd have the same problem in New Zealand, wouldn't you, that the Greens aren't into free speech on this. You buy into the trans ideology or else. Sue Reed, one of my board members and who you see on Straight Talk, sent me this. Unity Books have just put out their latest books that they're marketing in New Zealand. I think you can only get them online, maybe in some books. But it was just, these are the children's books. You'll notice they're the one there, second from the right, Cursed. The book's Cursed, apparently. We've got one on dragons, but it's the second one from the left, which was interesting. Let me just enlarge it. And it's Gay the Pray Away. Bit of a play on words there. Gay the Pray Away. And this is for kids, right? This is children's books. And let's just read what it's about. It's an Asian American teen who longs to break free of the conservative cult she was raised in. Valerie is in a cult. She doesn't know it yet, but when she stumbles across a queer romance novel at the library, everything about her life centered around a fundamentalist Christian homeschooling group is thrown into question. And to make things even more complicated, there's a girl as the two bond over being multiracial teens in their very white and very religious community. Valerie finds herself falling in love. As you can see, the critical theory is just rife with intersectionality there. We've got multiculturalism, we've got Christian, we've got whiteness, but this is a kid's book. Yeah, this is a kid's book, Gay the Pray Away. So there's just a warning for stuff that you might see on Unity Books. Always important to do a bit of research on the books you're getting. Right, now I did promise you this. I just want to show you a couple of clips from the interview that Q&A did with Te Pati Maori Rini Kaipra, who used to be a broadcaster, TV3, I think. So I would expect her to turn up to an interview well prepared and, perform quite well. Ex-broadcaster, now going as a politician. However, it was a disaster, to be honest. But the fascinating thing, I just want to show you this first clip, is just how binary the Te Pati Maori is, and how much they understand that only women can give birth. Have a watch of this clip.
The difference between Penny and I is that I am a wahine, and it's not a gender difference, it's actually wahine Māori, especially if you've grown in a place like this, in our kohanga, you are bred to become a caretaker, a kaitiaki of te ao wairua as well as te ao kiko kiko. What is te ao wairua? It's all the spiritual, the intangible, and that's mātauranga tuku iho. We are the caretakers of our wombs, which is te whare tangata.
Wombs.
And there is a saying, ki te kore he wahine, ka ngaro te whenua, ka ngaro te tangata, ka ngaro te whakapapa. Without women, there is no land, there is no whānau, and
True.
you lose whakapapa, because we have the wombs that give birth to men and women.
Amen.
You know, there is te mana o te tāne and te mana o te wahine, and neither is competitive, but they must work together, because without the man, the female has no male voice, nor that male protection. And without
Wow.
the female, the male cannot enter a marae space or anywhere sacred where the female must be the leader in terms of the domain and the tikanga around that.
Wow. How binary. I mean, that's just amazing, isn't it? And the womb. Without the womb, you wouldn't have man and woman, and only the woman has the womb. I mean, that is just great stuff. But it did go downhill from then. There were some questions. In fact, this question that I'm going to show you, Jack Tame actually rescued her. It was that bad.
But there's nothing that you can point to that has materially changed, right, over the last...
In terms of policy?
In terms of policy, nothing that's materially improved the lives of te iwi Māori. I get the point that you're making about the importance of what you see as the fight and what that might represent in a more kind of philosophical or cultural sense, but there's nothing that's kind of materially improved, is there?
Yeah, well,
Can you think of any?
In opposition where Te Pati Maori has, I mean, they have repealed quite a few, and actively repealed. We're still in the process of repealing. I know, there's
Watch
not much...
Jack.
What do you mean?
Trying to think.
Were they repealing?
Well, there's... Okay, hang on, I need my phone. It is the...
Okay, so let me pick up on a point.
Opposition parties don't repeal
Isn't the
stuff.
government repealing things?
No, I mean Te Pati Maori, sorry, I don't
Really?
have my phone on me.
He rescues her.
You're talking about the importance of the fight and what it kind
Back
of represents,
against the
right?
wall, and Jack
as you
Tame
meant,
rescues her. Interesting. But then it got just as bad to the next
in
questions.
terms of policies, you say you want mana whenua to have first right of refusal for significant private land. So how would that work?
That's a good question. I will have to get back to you on that.
That's your policy.
That's Te Pati Maori's policy. That's
It's one of your priorities, though.
No, there
It
wasn't.
is.
Among your other priorities as a candidate is to tackle the skyrocketing cost of food that I think is affecting many whānau around the motu. What's causing high food prices?
What's causing high food prices? You tell me. Is it the economy right now? Is it businesses who are forced to hike their prices up?
Yeah, probably should know the answer to that one. One more.
Identity is obviously absolutely central and kind of fundamental to Te Pati Maori's campaigning, and you introduce yourself online by saying, quote, "I am in essence unapologetically Maori." What makes someone Maori?
That's a really good question. What makes someone Maori?
Whew. Okay, not a good interview. Anyway, we'll see what happens in the by-election. I think Labour might be winning that one. I will discuss that more with Simon O'Connor tomorrow night on Political Playback, because I'm interested to find out what he thinks in just terms of a performance as a politician. You turn up, you've got to know that type of policy. I'll be interested to ask Simon if he's had such a disastrous interview. Anyway, McBlog, the one I did on Monday was just talking further about the whole Minnesota shooter and how the media basically didn't tell you the whole facts around the ideology of the shooter because they wanted to protect the trans ideology. Yeah, it was a big cover up by the media, and they moved on very quickly when they found out the ideology of the shooter. This morning, I've just released a McBlog basically about Tay and Travis Kelce getting engaged, and suddenly marriage is cool. Yeah, which is quite fascinating because I also compare it to the media coverage of New Zealand's declining marriage rates, and all the media could talk about was the fact that same-sex marriages had increased by 29 same-sex marriages, although a third of them are overseas same-sex marriages, so tourism marriages. And overall, of all marriages, about 3% are same-sex. But that's what the media focus on. And yeah, so, and the other thing was that when they went to interview, so they didn't come and interview a pro-marriage group, Family Life, all groups that are promoting marriage. No, they didn't do that. They didn't come and talk to us. They went and found not a marriage celebrant, but an elopement celebrant. An elopement celebrant. I thought I had that video to play you, but I won't play it for you. Go and watch the McBlog, okay? So watch the McBlog. It's up on our website now. Yeah, so very fascinating. Right, now you have all been very busy, and just a few comments. Foodog says she forgot her phone. That's true. I thought it was quite funny. I just need to get my phone out to check it. Rabbit Hole says, is she in politics or not? She needs to spend more time reading up on what her party is doing. Very true. You guys aren't being very kind. Yep, she lost it there. Where's Ma Brain? Says Adrian. It was kind of like just lights. I mean, I've been in interviews and you've got to be so alert and ready for every question. That's part of your preparation. She's in the middle of a campaign. So I thought she'd be a lot sharper. Foodog says, hang on, I will just Google that answer. Very good. And now somebody made a comment here. I just saw it was about, Dee Dee says they are going to give their fathers quality time. Mike says he's bought his Father's Day gift for himself. That's a good idea, Mike. I might do that myself because then you actually get what you want. Simply Green says we're way past the assimilation argument in terms of multiculturalism. That was a lie. And Michael again says, I thought Spotify core business is streaming music, not social media. Good point as well. And that is the worry. And this is a good way to finish today. No special days for my parents. It was too commercial. Show them love and appreciation every day, says Rabbit Hole. And a breakfast in bed might go down very well as well. All right, we are out of time. You have a great day. And tomorrow morning, Simon will be back with Solid Ground. Simon and me will be discussing some of these political issues, including that car crash interview with Te Pati Maori. We'll do that tomorrow night on Political Playback, and I'll be back Friday. So anyway, have a great Wednesday. Thanks for watching.